Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and with me again is my wonderful wife, Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hi.
How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Tonight, gang, we are going to be talking about Kinky Boots. All things Kinky Boots.
There's a lot of reverb.
Is there some reverb going on? I'll find out why. Let's see if we can turn down the main there, Skid Row. See what's happening. Go do that. Is that better?
Yes. That's
all right, good. Let's see what we can do. All right, gang. So tonight we're talking about Kinky Boots. Now, we went, again, to the North Shore Music Theater, Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts, a place we've been frequenting more recently.
Sure.
We absolutely love it there. Just to give you an idea, we recently did a podcast on Little Shop of Horrors, which we liked a lot. And tonight we got to see the opening night of Kinky Boots. And why don't you start? Let's give it a little background, then we'll go into what we thought of the show and things like that. Give a little background on Kinky Boots itself.
So Kinky Boots is, for those who don't know, it was written in 2013. It's based on a book by Harvey Fierstein called Kinky Boots. And it's written, the music is all written by Cyndi Lauper, which is completely...
Which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either till we got this. It's based on, actually, there's a 2005 British film called Kinky Boots, and it follows the story of Charlie, who's a young man, and his family has a shoe factory, and his father dies unexpectedly. So Charlie comes back. He's moved to London. He comes back to inherit the shoe factory and finds out that the finances probably aren't so great. So they got to come up with...
To be honest, he didn't want to do it. He was not interested in taking on the family business. But it's third generation, fourth generation. The business had been around for a long time. Yeah. The factory is one of those factory towns, where there's so many factories and everybody relies on the factory. You know what I mean? That's where they make their money, the whole town kind of thing. Yeah. If people have seen a lot of different movies, you think Tommy Boy with Callahan's Auto, right? That's where my heart can. And also in Jumanji, the father, they own the shoe, Paris shoes. So to hearken to people that's what you can think of too.
Yeah.
Very similar.
So Charlie discovers that the business isn't very good and he really doesn't want to cash it in. So he has this chance encounter with Lola, who is a drag queen. Yeah. Also, Lola's birth name is Simon, and they formed this partnership to make boots for drag queens. Yeah. And through it, and through a lot of different adventures and perils and things like that, they're able to revitalize the business ultimately. But I think, it's billed as a show that's all about people accepting themselves as who they are and what they want in life and what they need to do. And I think it is exactly that. It's really... Accepting
themselves, accepting others, who they are. There's a lot of different themes that run through this show. Yeah. They're very powerful themes. The music was... for me, I had never seen the movie. I had never heard any of the soundtrack. I always had an interest in watching the movie. Just kind of those movies that I saw, I wanted to watch, never got around to it. It's on the bucket list. I want to see that movie, but so much going on, I just never did. So one of the wonderful things for me was going in, even though I knew a loose version of what the story was about, I didn't really know that much. Unlike Little Shop of Horrors, which I've seen the movie 100 times, I heard the music 100 times. This, I had never heard the music, so I didn't know the full story. So it was just wonderful to go in there with a fresh set of eyes, with no expectations as to what it was going to be or how they've done it previous casts or compared to the movies, anything like that. So it was a wonderful surprise to watch this unfold and see the story and the music and how amazing it was. So not to put too fine a point on it, we both loved it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And a mark of a good show when it ended and we sat there I could watch this again, right now. All right, take it from the top, and just watch it again.
It was just joyful is the right word for it. Yeah. It was just fun. Some
heavy themes in there, but it's very joyful show and movement of the music and the choreography and just incredible.
And I think they dealt with the heavy themes really, really well. I don't think they shied away from them. I don't think they pretended that they weren't there. And still was able to maintain its joyful, very 80s vibe flavor. Once you know Cyndi Lauper writes it, you're like, of course.
Yes.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Even when we were leaving, they were playing Girls That Just Want to Have Fun. Thought that was funny.
I had that tape.
Yeah, so did I. I watched the video, the music video, many times on MTV. What's that? Right, when they actually played music videos.
I was not allowed to watch MTV.
I weep for your childhood, as you do mine. So, again, going back to the theater, Bill Haney is the owner-producer, and Kevin P. Hill is the producing artist-director. And they were great. So they came out to introduce the show, as they always do, and they're both wearing the boots.
Yeah.
And Bill didn't move. Kevin, obviously, way more comfortable dancing around. Bill definitely should have. He did not move. He didn't even turn around to face the other part of the audience because he knew he was going to fall on his ass. Talk about that. Really hard to move in shoes like that, I guess. I've never worn them myself, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it is, but I think like you have to get your balance, right? And I think a thinner heel is harder to balance than anything else. So,
isn't it more on the ball of your foot when you're doing that?
Yes, there's a lot of pressure on the ball of your foot. It hurts a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, actually, I wanted to be like, no, you should move. Because it's like the pressure, this is going to hurt more. Like just it definitely by the time they were lowering him down, it looked like he was in pain. Yeah, just standing still. I wonder if he's just do that for opening night, or he's going to do that every night. Well, I hope he practices because I'm going to tell you, like just standing there in those, it's not good. And he was kind of like leaning back. It's not. Then he was hunching. You see his knees buckling, like he was bending. No, just it hurts. I mean, it definitely hurts, but you get used to it. Yeah. All right, so let's go through the cast. A wonderful cast. Luke Hamilton. Right, and plays Charlie, and we have Julian Malone was Lola Simon. Yeah, Lola / Simon. Yeah, and Audrey Bell Adams was Lauren, and the three of them actually played the same roles at the Theater by the Sea in Warwick, Rhode Island. This summer. I did not know that. So it's the North Shore Music Theater's sister theater. Gotcha. Okay. So they all were reprising those roles, which I think is really cool. Yes. I'm just looking at the. So we have Nicola, right? Etta Grover. Mm-hmm. George is Kevin B. McGlynn, yeah, and then Dawn James Fairchild. There's a lot of just really memorable characters. I thought in this. But who was your favorite character? I mean, Lola obviously steals the show. In respect, but I gotta say, Lauren, was Dawn and Lauren were the two sort of like for opposite reasons. Dawn being the gruff, man's man, doesn't like the drag queens being around in very rural London, off of London, not London, but England. What town? Do you remember what town they were in? I think they said Northampton. Right, Northampton. Thank you. And so it was that whole tension, the whole show, and then he was one of the ones who had to kind of accept somebody for who they were, and we'll get into that and how he did that and what came around to it. But Lauren was, to me, the breakout star. Like, did not see that coming. Again, hadn't seen the movie or knew much about it or even had heard the soundtrack. So I did not see. I thought she was just sort of a background player, and then she becomes more of a player into the show, and she becomes basically his marketing or PR person, and helps Charlie create the show for Milan when they're going to go and promote the boots and things like that. So, and then of course, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it, they fall in love by the end of it. Charlie's originally engaged to Nicola, but then they separate. She wants to be in London. He wants to now, because of Lola and everything, he wants to take over the family business and actually make a go of it, making these, kinky boots essentially. So, and there's some ups and downs with that, which I didn't see coming either, but I really liked. But always struggle with that when they sort of have that negative part to it, where he turns into like kind of a big butthead, if you will, but you need that. Yes, you have to have drama. You have to have tension. You do. You have to have tension. You have to have drama. You have to have his redemption. And then everybody kind of getting on his side, which also then helped Dawn, realize and help, right, bring everybody back to him because he had to accept, So there's so many great themes, so many great little parts to it, more than I thought there was going to be, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of get this over our story of them making these boots and promoting the boots and trying to sell them and bring back the family business, basically from bankruptcy, and they're going to, basically sell the fact the father had made a deal to sell the factory, and Charlie didn't even know about it before he passed away. And then, they come back, and he's trying to build this back up again, and, you have Dawn's basically butting heads with Lola, and then they create this little
tension between them and this argument and challenge between them. And then Lola, who is Simon, whose father, now we have this, we're talking about Lola's father who didn't accept him and his lifestyle and their separation, but he was a prize fighter who taught Simon how to fight. It was basically trained by an expert boxer. So they have this boxing match between Dawn and Simon, essentially, and Lola, and Lola basically throws the fight so that Dawn doesn't get basically harassed at work the next day, so he gets still respected. But then Dawn has to do something that Lola says you have to do, and you can't turn it down, and it's accepting somebody for who they are. And then turns around, and you think he's going to turn around and accept Lola, but it's not. It's Charlie, because then that's when Charlie has the big, blowout with everybody. He's so tense about this Milan show, and basically turns on everybody, and turns on Lola, who had his back and was doing this whole thing and upheaved his whole life from London to be there, and then basically turns on everybody. And that's how they, Dawn brings it back, brings the whole crew back in to complete and then everybody, of course, shows up with the boots on at the show, which is incredible. But talk to me about some of the other parts that you love. Like, who was your favorite character?
So, I loved Lola, of course. Like, any scene that Lola is in, you cannot take your eyes off of her.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So well done. So, the voice, the range, everything. Like, the depictions. I mean,
big props to Julian Malone.
Oh, my God. Julian Malone is an incredible talent. I wept. I cried. I have not cried so much.
2 parts.
Yeah. I have not cried so hard at a song in the theater since we saw Hamilton. And I was pregnant, and you watched, spoiler alert,
we saw that
Hamilton's
on TV, not in the theater, but we're going to see that in January.
Yes. But, so, Not My Father's Son, I was crying. Like, I could not stop crying. I was very, very, very emotional.
Yeah.
Talking about, the rejection that he felt from his father and just the pain. And Charlie, in a similar way, even though his father loved him very much, but, was feeling very, very much the same. But,
because he wasn't being what his father wanted him to be.
And I think, that's a theme that can resonate with a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when you aren't what your parents want you to be, or as you grow up and you realize, like, hey, my parents aren't perfect, or my parents, maybe they didn't always do things the right way, or when you start to see that your parents as an adult, it can be really hard.
Yeah, sure.
To accept them for who they really are.
It's very shattering.
And sometimes. Love them. Yeah, and love them despite it.
Yeah.
Their positives, their negatives. I absolutely cried. Like, I had a hard time stopping.
Yeah, yes, you did. Yes,
I had a hard time
what was the
stopping.
other one? There was another one you started to go on.
No, not really.
You said there was 2 times.
No, you said there were 2 times.
Oh, I thought you said there was 2 times. Sorry.
No,
that's my fault. I thought you said there was 2 times.
I will say another moment in the show that really resonated with me was the song "The History of Wrong Guys." Oh my God. Story of my life.
Yes,
before
we
my
often
marriage.
talk about the parade of losers.
Yes,
that you
Story
met.
of my life before my marriage.
We often talk about the parade route.
Oh my God! Never did I know there were so many people who were dysfunctional in Massachusetts, and I dated them all.
But you ended up with one.
No,
but
no, you're not dysfunctional.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Not more than the average.
Oh, good. All right, so I'm average. All right, I like that.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
that.
The History of Wrong Guys. And her voice is incredibly, like, it's a very 80s.
Yeah.
It was very 80s themed, very poppy. And she went with it.
Yes.
And it was incredible. Her performance.
Who's the singer now?
Adele?
No, not Adele. Is it Meghan Trainor? What's the other one? Who sings Not About the... I'll come back to it. I don't want to dead air, but like, oh my God, I'll look it up.
Okay.
It's all about the hips or something. Like, all about the
all about that bass.
All about the bass.
That's Meghan Trainor.
Meghan Trainor. That's what she reminded me of her.
Okay.
Blonde.
Yeah.
Right. Same poppy voice, kind of with a good range. She reminded me of her. That's what she reminded me of.
Yeah. No, she was
thought I had the name right.
She was really impressive.
Yes.
She was really impressive.
When she was doing that she was belting out the song, and then she kneels down, and the wind machine blows her hair back.
Isn't it awesome?
It was underneath the conveyor belt. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like a standard like wind machine that like you used to like dry out a factory or whatever.
Yeah,
it was just there. Like I noticed, like, oh, that's a wind machine. It's just blowing right into her hair.
It's like Tawny Katane in the White Snake video.
Yeah, exactly. It's just random blonde hair flowing randomly in the wind.
Anybody who grew up in the 80s will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And if you don't, go look it up. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
For sure.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I mean, like you said, her voice was incredible. Great range.
Yeah.
Super great range.
But those things that, like, she
had that little humor, too, right? That she,
totally.
like, kind of look at the audience, give that sort of break that fourth wall, if you will.
Totally.
Kind of like, wink, you know what I mean? To the shrug, the wink at the audience.
And Lola did some of that, too, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I like that.
I also have to say, like, the amount of people in this production who not only walked, but danced and pranced and flew around the stage in 6-inch heels was so impressive.
With Rise, with the what do you call them, the platforms, thank you, with the platform in the front. It's not just a flat shoe in the front with the 6-inch.
The platform makes it easier.
Does it?
The platform makes it easier to balance.
Again, so I wouldn't know that, but
so the platform takes pressure off of the ball of your foot and actually makes it a little bit easier to balance.
Weird. See, I would think just because you're so high, your foot has to, like, you feel like your foot's going to roll off of it.
No, you're a little more even that way.
Oh, okay.
You're a little more even.
Again.
But, like, it's crazy. I kept thinking that the entire time. Lola did the whole show in heels.
Pretty much, yeah. It was only like one or two scenes.
Almost the entire thing in heels. And I was like, oh, my God. I don't think I've ever worn heels that long in my entire life.
And certainly not danced around like that.
No, let alone that.
Yeah.
Height.
Yeah, jumping and dancing and all kinds of spinning and stuff. And then, of course, there was the backup dancers.
Yes, the angels.
The angels, thank you. Oh, my Lord.
I have to tell you, the commitment that it takes to... I am not super familiar with drag, but as an outside person looking in, the commitment that it takes to do that, like... I bow to all of you.
Yes.
My God, that is a lot of commitment to your art.
Yes.
You're dancing in heels. You're doing everything that it takes to make your body look feminine. Like, I bow to you.
I mean, the amount of makeup you have to do, the costuming was incredible. The tucking, we touched on that briefly. Like I said, there was a lot of tucking going on. And it really well done. I'm going to say that from a very straight point of view. It was amazing to see, like you said, the commitment and the artistry of that went into it, and like you said, it's just incredible to see that. And it was their voices were up there because obviously they did a lot of singing, backup singing, the splits, things that were just incredible.
Yes, the athleticism and the dancing.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah,
on that one circular stage.
Oh my God, and they're doing splits and getting up in 6-inch heels.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
I've been a martial artist 36 years. I don't want to do this. I'm not doing splits either. Forget it. It's not happening.
Well,
and we're supposed to.
It's not that...
You're supposed to be able to.
Ladies will be with me on this, but, like, do you know how hard it is to... Like, it's hard to get your balance. Mm-hmm. Like, that's pretty impressive. They were, like, up. Boom.
Popped right back up again.
Boom. Just doing it.
Absolutely.
My God.
Yes.
Did you sleep in those things? You must have.
You had to have. Absolutely. Now, what do we think of the star Luke Hamilton, who played Charlie?
I think he did a very good job. Mm-hmm. I think there were times, and we talked about this a little bit, where it seems like, I don't know what to say, like, he could...
I know, you don't want to say anything, like, bad, because he did a great job, and the show was amazing.
And then there were times with certain notes that, I don't know if it's fair to say, like, he struggled a little bit to hit them. Like, he had range and he had power.
I thought sometimes he didn't have enough power.
Okay.
It seemed a little too in the back. When he was trying to really belt out. And the tough part, of course, is you're now trying to, you got Julian, Malone, and, so you got Lola, and just stealing and chewing up the scenery left, right, and center. And the power in his voice was just really super powerful, but not overwhelming in terms of, like, the audio. Everything was really pitch perfect. But then Luke was not quite there. Not necessarily supposed to be either. Like, maybe the part really isn't supposed to be. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But there was definitely some ballads, some solos that I felt like you said, he was kind of struggling a little bit to hold that high, or hold that note and really punch it out. So there wasn't the same volume going on. However, I would say that last one that he did when he was down and out and everybody had left him, that was impressive. Like that really, he really sold it there. It started out a little shaky, and even you told me you could hear a little bit.
There was a moment,
There was a moment, but then by the end of it was absolutely crushing it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely crushed it. And it crushed not only the volume and the tone, the range got a little bit better, and then the emotion.
Yes.
The absolute emotion of it that he hit was perfect.
And I think throughout, like, the emotion was always there with him. Like, the emotion was always present. And I thought he did a really nice job of portraying Charlie as this really earnest guy who just wanted the best and then kind of let himself get carried away and become this total monster to the people around him who he was caring about. And, like, nothing was good enough.
Right. And that's what I'll say. You know, even though I struggled a little bit with his range in the singing portion, I thought the acting portion was spot on.
I agree.
Spot on. I believed in who he was. I believed in what he was saying and his emotions and mannerisms and his, drive behind what he was saying.
Absolutely.
You know, I felt that, he was Charlie. He wasn't just an actor portraying this role.
Exactly.
He really felt like him. So that I thought was pitch perfect. I thought that was wonderful. And I don't think there was anybody in the show I didn't quite believe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they all really had their characters really, and this was opening night. So, and like you said, some of them had done this before, but, just the ability to get there and stay there the whole time and stay in that zone was incredible. So, yeah, I mean, overall, obviously, we love the show. What did you feel anything needed to be improved as opening night? Who knows? We're going to drop this the day after. We're going to drop this on Thursday, so people have plenty of time to go see it. Unlike our last reviews, we did it after the close of the show, the last performance.
We have this habit of going to the last one.
We do. Tonight, we were lucky enough to be invited to the opening.
Yeah.
And thank you to Mike as well from the
North Shore
Music Theater for inviting us to the show. Hopefully, we'll get to see more.
Yeah.
We will definitely be there. The next show is coming up. We were talking about going to Christmas Carol, which we've done before, but we'd love to see it, again.
We really liked it last year.
Yeah, and then obviously they have which at the end we'll talk about all the different shows that they have coming up next season.
Yep.
We'll go over that before we sign off tonight. So anything that you thought wasn't 100% for you? Because, I mean, this show had so much 100% all over it.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to think about that. Does anything spring to mind for you?
I think if it was anything for me was some of the positioning of the characters, the peripheral characters who were standing there in the factory. Being around theater, it's a theater in the round. It's got to be incredibly hard. Right? We had incredible seats. Thank you, Mike. We had incredible seats. Yeah, no,
they were really awesome.
And so we were in like one of the prime locations to see everything. But yet there were still moments. The first time I think Lola kind of like played, when everybody got that first shock moment.
Yeah.
When Lola, I don't know what she did because there was two people blocking me. Two of the characters were blocking me, standing there, and I couldn't see them. I couldn't see what she was doing.
But I also think that that's part of theater in the round. Is that
it is, but they were standing there, so like part of it could have been if they're moving more than just standing. Because once they're there, whatever's happening across, you can't see it. But if the side characters are slightly moving a little bit, or sitting, or whatever, then I would have been able to see.
I don't know.
They were stationary because they were at their little, their places where they were working in the factory.
I think it's hard because, like, I do think with theater in the round, your back is always going to be to somebody. And I think it's hard. I understand what you're saying. Like, I think...
Right, but if those two people were staying at their stations weren't there, I would have seen what Lola was doing.
Yes.
Even though she was across the stage.
Well,
you know what I mean? She was to the left.
Oh, I don't know that we're thinking of the same moment, because I'm thinking of some moment where
she did it twice. She did which kind of lifted the skirt or something like that, or I don't know, bumped into somebody. Like remember she was doing it. She kind of grinded up on the older guy. What's his name? Who helped run the factory?
Don,
thank you.
No, not
Don. The other
George.
Guy, George, but did something to someone before that, and then so there was a kind of an everybody in the theater just like cracked up and gasped and. It was, I'm sure it was hysterical, but I couldn't see it.
Oh.
And again, if the characters around were kind of moving more, a little bit more, everybody would see. Because I'm sure there's other people who, from the other side, because there were people standing there. there was a lot of that because there was a few bar scenes. Mm-hmm. The bar scenes were a little bit better because people were kind of mingling and drinking and moving a little bit more. The factory scenes were a little bit more stationary for the characters because they had their little stations where they were like, working the leather or doing whatever. So they were standing at their stations.
I have to tell you too, like in the bar scene in particular, I was, the song was going on or whatever, but I always look at the like peripheral characters to see what they're doing.
Sure.
And it was incredible. Like they were really engaged.
Yep.
Like they were really engaged, and I felt like they were really there in the moment.
Do you want to hear what they're saying? Because they're having like little conversations to make it look like they're really having conversations. So what is it that they're saying, right? I used to work for an audio company, Cambridge Soundworks, and we did a commercial one time. And I was talking to the CEO at the time, like in the commercial, like the camera was just panning by, and we're supposed to be talking about the speakers, and he was quote unquote the salesman, and I forget myself, and somebody else was the the customers, and he was pointing at the speaker, and he was talking, but it's not, you can't hear him. It's an overture. It's like a voiceover, somebody talking about the speakers, and he's sitting there like basically going, "Do you know these screens are made of pure dog shit?" And that's what he said. We're like trying not to laugh, like, Tom, really? Like he's trying, you know what I mean? So we're like trying not to crack up as the camera pans by us.
I'm always
like kind of like that as somebody's saying something,
absolutely.
And they're going to crack up their the castmate or something like that because they're saying something, or are they just, you know what I mean? Or is it a set thing they're supposed to talk about,
No, I don't know. I mean, I always want to know.
Yeah, because they looked so real.
Well, yes, but that's why you always look at that, right? Yeah. Or I think a lot of people do, or a lot of people who've done theater, like, my big high school career here, but, that it was what it was. Yeah. But, I remember, like, I think you're, like, attracted to those, you want to see. You want to see if anybody's making a mistake. And it was, there was one point where George dropped a pencil, or the pencil flew out of his hand or something. Accident. Yeah. And one of the guys was laughing.
Yeah. And he went and picked it up. He was just like, what the hell happened? He threw the pencil.
He just kind of he just kind of went.
Yeah. I like things like that. I like things like it's spontaneous. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you have to make the best of it.
Not just that, it makes it look real. Like, God knows how many times I'm trying to do something, shit goes flying out of my hands. Yeah, I'm like, right now, really? This is the time for this? Like, it just makes it look real. It adds more to the realism of the show.
It's okay.
Which I thought was awesome. Costumes. Talk to me about costumes.
I think the costuming was great. I think, Lola, of course, all the stuff was over the top. I loved her backup dancers, are called the Angels.
Yeah.
So I loved the Angels costumes. I thought they were each very creative.
Yes.
And a little bit different, even though they were always along the same theme. They were very cool. I think they had, the factory workers had on these smocks that remind me of something that, like, my grandmother used to wear when she was washing the dishes.
Yeah, my mother still wears them.
Yeah, I know. Tasha does too.
Yeah, my how old is she? 24, 25-year-old? 25-year-old niece wears one too. I'm like, oh boy, she's wearing her shamumu.
Yeah, she does. She definitely does when she washes the dishes. So, yes.
That's funny.
That's what I was thinking of the whole time.
Yeah.
My grandmother definitely had those.
Yeah, I did. I feel the same way. The costumes were over the top in a wonderful way for everyone in the drag and things like that, and then to watch everybody come out at the end in the boots, including Dawn.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I've seen like other production stills, not necessarily of this show per se, of other companies doing it, and not everybody is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like every single person. There was one person who had like shorter red boots. It wasn't like the total like over the knee thigh high ones, but everybody else was fully committed to it, and like you said, just dancing around like crazy. Really good. The music is so upbeat, even the sad songs, but like the music was so, it's...
Well, I think the music is very upbeat, a lot of it, and then the other songs, though, they really, like, they take you there.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
My favorite song?
Yeah, your favorite song on the show. You would know better than that. I've only heard it once. So I'd have to think about it a little bit more before I can answer that, because I've only heard it one time.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I really, the Sex is in the Heel is like iconic, right?
Yes.
Like that's, and I loved everything that Lola sang. I would have to say, like, Not My Father's Son was so touching on so many levels.
Yeah, but it's not a song I could listen to it over and over again.
I think I probably could.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's an amazing song. An incredibly song, but because of the subject matter, because it's so tugging at your heart. It's not something I could like bop down the road on 95. You know what I mean? Singing to and singing. You know what I mean? It's just not something I do. I have a hard time with the same thing in Hamilton. When you know what I mean? When they're talking about their kids and stuff. Yeah, just forget it. I can't.
Mm-hmm. No, I liked Land of Lola.
Yeah.
Also quite a bit. I mean, pretty much, and so I guess if I have to pick one though, like the history of the Wrong Guys, probably that's probably where my heart is most.
Yeah.
It resonates the most with me and my life experience, shall we say?
Yes, we can definitely say that. That's incredible. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's such a wonderful production. I definitely want to see it again. We don't have time to.
No, I know, right?
We have tickets for the Sunday show. We're going to have to give them away because we're so busy opening up our second location, our new location for our school, that to be able to see it again. But like I said, I could sit there right after and watch it again.
Yeah, which is incredible because
from the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be like, okay, let's do it again.
Let's rewind again.
Let's rewind to do it again.
That was incredible.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just we said that even at the the intermission.
Yeah,
we're saying it's just really, really, really well. Just fun, right? Yeah. What a great thing to do on Wednesday night.
Yes.
So
Wednesday night show. Mm-hmm. Paid for parking, which you don't have to do at the pavilion. You can, and you complained about it at first until we got out of there real quick. You're like, yeah, let's pay for parking every time.
Yes.
It was only $10, so it's not bad at all. But you don't have to pay just to kind of give. You don't have. There's free parking in there.
Yeah.
As well, if you want to get up close and get out of there quickly.
So just so everyone knows, there's tickets. Tickets are available.
Yes.
The performances are from October 25th through November 6th.
Yep.
Tuesday through Thursday, 7:30. Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. And matinees Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2 p.m.
Yes.
So you have plenty of time to go see it, and you really should. You can get tickets at nsmt.org.
And on their social media is at official NSMT.
That's Instagram.
That's their Instagram. I think that might also be their Facebook stuff like that. That's what their sign says.
Yep.
So, and their Twitter, and even their YouTube. So definitely check them out. But yes, the website itself to get tickets is nsmt.org. You can also call their box office, which is 978-232-7200. They have their season coming up in 2023. Before that, though, you have A Christmas Carol, as we had mentioned, from December 1st to the 23rd. Mm-hmm. This will be the 31st annual production. David Coffey again is Scrooge. I mean, amazing.
He was incredible.
We've done that podcast already, but I wouldn't mind doing it again, to be honest with you, and get a little comparison now a year later. But he is just out of this world. I mean, he's incredible at that. Obviously, he's been doing it. I think what did we say? He missed one or two out of the whole thing. He missed out of the whole 31 productions. That hopefully we'll get to see that next season. There is Beautiful, the Carole King musical, which looks real good. We're excited for that. One's June 6th through the 18th. You have The Sound of Music coming up from July 11th to the 23rd. Margaritaville, Escape to Margaritaville from Jimmy Buffett's. It's August 15th through August 27th. The Full Monty from September 26th to October 8th. And then basically for the first time anywhere, apparently, according to them at the show, they have a musical revolution of Elvis. The first sort of authorized Elvis musical production that we know about.
Which apparently has 40 of his songs in it.
40 of his songs, you're absolutely right. 40 Elvis hits. And that's going from October 31st to November 12th of 2023.
I will be very curious to see
I hope we get to go to that one. I would really like to go to that one. Let's make a point to do that one. You get VIP packages. So you buy a bunch of different shows at a time, which is actually what we did. Mm-hmm. We bought like a 3-pack, which is really good. So a lot of great pricing and easy accessible, to get family going in there, date night, whatever you like, and it's easy to get to, it's right off of 128 really at that point, right? So it's just super easy to get to and get out of there. We love it there. We go there now. We used to go there like a little bit before the show. Now we go there like an hour early. Yeah. Have a little drink, get good parking, sort of hang around. We took great pictures of us at the Boots.
Yes. Just so everyone understands, my priority is to have a drink. Marco's priority is to have good parking.
And those who know me will know better that parking is very important.
Parking is the bane of my existence.
Parking is the bane of my existence since I bought a car.
I know, honey. It's so hard to be you.
It is hard. It's not easy. Old jobs, parking. We used to park like a mile away. We've had parking issues no matter where I've gone. So hoping at the news place there's not that much parking problems. So far there hasn't been.
Okay. If there is, you'll find it.
I'm sure I will. Like people parking right in front of the stairs where there's no parking.
I know.
I saw an Uber. Sure. I saw a Lyft or an Uber. One of those guys getting right in front of the stairs to pick up a.
Yeah, well, that's an Uber.
It was either Uber or a DoorDash or somebody who was going in to pick up a package. Pick up from the bagel place.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh boy, they were right in front of the stairs. Anyway, I digest. So all right, gang.
So what would you give it if we're going to give it a star rating?
How many boots? How many boots did you give
How many boots?
I mean, I can't lie. It's got to be a 5 boot. I know that sounds tacky. I know that sounds pandering. It's just not. I mean, I couldn't ask for more on this show. Like, I really, you know what I mean?
What did you give Little Shop of Horrors last time? 3.5?
Like, yeah, around 3.5. I mean, I'm dead honest with my ratings. You know what I mean? When I like something, I like something. If I don't, I don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm going to be super honest. Every review we give them, I'm going to be super honest with it.
Mm-hmm. I would give this a 5, too. I mean, I think it was really, it was just really incredible. Like, I think it was much... I am surprised, again, how it could deal with such serious themes in a very appropriate manner, but also make you feel good.
Yeah. And so I would give a little comparison to Little Shop of Horrors. Not that I mean, they're completely different shows. And I know I complained a lot about last time about the set dressing and the lack of there. This one, had, other than the big structure for the factory, had a little less. But yet, it felt better to me. Mostly because, as you said, this is a bigger cast. It's a lot more singing and dancing. So they had to move around. Like, they couldn't be that much on stage because there was such a big cast of people flipping around on stage, dancing and doing everything. So it had to be. So, like, I didn't feel a void of set. You know what I mean? Because there's so much happening.
I think the hard thing, and Little Shop of Horrors is its own particular, because Audrey 2 is such a part of it.
Yeah.
And her presence is there, even when she's small. Everything revolves around her.
And to be fair, I had seen the movie first.
I know.
This I hadn't seen anything, so I'm expecting, like in the flower shop, I expected some more, flowers. There weren't any. There were none. Like there was the register, but there was no like things of even dead flowers or real flowers anywhere to be seen. They might have brought a bouquet on stage once in a while, like they wrapped it and then gone, but there wasn't anything around representing that it was a floral shop other than a register and a fake door.
Right, but they don't. But that's when you do that kind of stuff, right? Again, theater in the round, you have to consider what's blocking people.
Sure, no, I get it.
And so everything is always super minimal there.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Like, none of that bothered me. It didn't even occur to me that there should be flowers. There were flowers in my head.
There weren't any flowers in my head.
There were flowers in my head.
There weren't any flowers in my head.
There were all kinds of shoes and things
look at tonight's show, right? They kept bringing on those carts to show you what they're working on, the leather working and all that kind of stuff. Like there was a lot more props even in this show.
Okay.
Plus the big factory, the conveyor belt, which was they had to use that as part of it.
Yeah.
With the staircase going up and everything like that for the higher level when they were talking down to the employees and stuff like that. So there was more on this show than I thought. Yeah. So again, it didn't have that void. People rolled on the carts and they rolled off the carts. And they did it very well, very seamless, and I thought I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. I think there definitely had to be less here, right? Because there were more people moving, dancing, jumping, doing all of the acrobatic things.
But yet there was still more than the last one, and I really appreciated it. I really liked the sets on this one. I liked, the lack thereof, the dancing when we were at Lola's.
Yeah.
The lights sold it.
Oh, for sure.
Right, all the different lighting, the different, the bulb lighting, the red, and it's totally sold the fact that you're in that kind of a club
environment. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. Didn't need anything else.
No, I agree, and I think that, but also I think that this is, and I don't know, I'm going to say happier again, but this is more like a musical, like not an old-timey musical, but like musicals are generally pretty happy, right? Like, it happens, the guy gets the girl, everybody's happy, blah, blah, blah. We save the town, we redirect the river, Lassie comes home.
That's right.
I think recently musicals have gotten like Phantom of the Opera doesn't end happy, right? Or Les Mis, depending on which way you look at it, doesn't necessarily
Hamilton doesn't end happy.
Hamilton certainly does not end happily. Like, it's different. And I think that Little Shop of Horrors falls into one of those, like Little Shop of Horrors is dark.
It's dark. The motif is dark. The play is dark. The movie is dark.
Yeah, the whole thing
director's cut is very dark.
The whole thing is just dark.
Yeah.
It's just about the desecration of life on the planet.
Yeah.
So I feel like less is more there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not as much that you can do with it, and it's fitting. Like, it's about how we're all becoming a wasteland.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's joyful.
It is joyful, even with the overtone themes
together.
and the people with sort of the prejudices and all that kind of stuff. But it was people overcoming them and seeing through them and coming together, and that I thought was amazing. I love the themes in this one. I really do.
I think yes, and I think again, like, they did not shy away from they played it out, right? That there were people who were not going to accept Lola as she was. And, it really had no use for a drag queen, and thought that Charlie was losing his mind and dishonoring his father's memory and all of these other things. And then, you had Lola just asking, Dawn to accept someone as they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is, anyone.
And like I said, I felt bad for Lola when, she or he had to feel like he had to dress like a man, like proper in the factory. I felt like, I was in my brain, like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's not
who you are. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's
that is the
the
worst thing you can do, is to pander to people like that just because you think that's what you have to do to fit in.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing anybody can do.
I think that was the other part of the, not
but
my father's son.
Not that I don't get why somebody would think that way, or kind of hit that road or stumble like that, because it's pretty hard out there.
Pressure.
Yeah, it's tough out there. People suck.
But I think
people can suck when it comes to that, and then making people feel, out of place, and you know what I mean? So I get it. Like,
if it's not hurting
I
anyone,
empathize. Obviously, I can't sympathize, but I can definitely empathize.
Yes. If it's not hurting anyone, why do you care?
Yeah. How is it you feel like it's hurting you? Not doing anything to you, against you, by you, for you, away from you. So what do you care? Why do you have to go after people and their being when they're hurting no one, especially you?
Exactly right.
They're not trying to involve you in it. They're not trying to turn you, quote unquote, right? What these lunatics think about. You know what I mean? Just leave them the fuck alone. Pardon my French, but you know what I mean?
People have the right to live their life how they're going to live their life, as long as they're obeying the law and not doing horrible things. And I think that's
I
think that, but that I think was the other part of what made, not my father's son so heart-wrenching, was here's Lola. This is the first time we see her more as Simon, right?
Yeah.
Like, dressed as a man in a more traditional male way, still with makeup and still the nails painted, but dressed in a suit, basically. And just
no wig.
Like, it just doesn't,
quote unquote, male shoes.
It's just not. Yeah.
And you could just see how uncomfortable he was and all of it, know?
Yeah, because it's not who he is. It's not his expression.
Absolutely. As uncomfortable as Bill was in the beginning of the show wearing those boots. Danny was working those boots. About the same thing.
I'm telling you.
Could not wait to get out of them. All right, that was it. I think we've chewed up that one like you wouldn't believe, and we gushed all over that musical. Like I said, I wish we had time to go see it again.
Me too.
So
I truly do.
We'll live vicariously through all of our listeners. Please, anybody in the Boston area, if you're not in the Boston area, come to the Boston area. If you're going to be around the Boston area anytime between now and November 6th, please make sure you go to NMS North Shore Music Theater, so nsmt.org, and get your tickets to the show. It is wonderful. You'll have a great time. You're going to be standing up. You're going to be dancing. You're going to be clapping. It is great. So please go see it. So thank you, Amy.
Always a pleasure.
Always fun when you get to do it. We'll see you at the next one, whatever that might be. We'll have fun. Everybody else can find us online at entertainmentrants.com or at our social media at Entertainment Rants. Please feel free to drop us a line at Apple Podcasts. Let us know what you think of the show. We'll read it on the podcast itself. We look forward to seeing you guys again and talking. Look for our future stuff coming out. I have an interview with Zach Barrick from the Netflix show. It's just a wonderful. I had a wonderful talk with this young man today, and we're going to be able to drop that hopefully in the next few days or so. This will be dropping tomorrow, so this will come out before that. So, but definitely look for that. And then on Monday, a special Monday drop, because since Monday is Halloween, we're dropping our Halloween episode with the regular ranters. We're talking about the original 70s version Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. So look forward to that, and we'll look forward to you guys talking to you soon, and keep on ranting, everybody. Night, Amy.
Good night.